So in today's 10-minute review, we have a really exciting piece by an ex-student of mine at iAnimate. His name is Julius. I'm really excited to show you guys this and also what can be improved in this piece, even though Julius has spent quite a lot of time working on this, making it awesome. So without further ado, let's get started with another episode. Alright, welcome to another 10-minute review. I hope you guys are doing well. So for those that actually want to get their animations reviewed, just like Julius is going to get it here in a second, make sure to join my Discord server. We're having a lot of fun, and most importantly, I have an animation feedback channel where you can upload your animations, and then I go through them once a week or every couple of weeks or so. And then if I see anything that kind of catches my eye that I think that needs help or is in the right way, or I think that the person might benefit from my feedback, I will pick it up and then I will actually review it here in my channel so you all can enjoy it, and for everybody looking, they can enjoy the review because it might help them in one way or another. I'm gonna throw 10 minutes on the clock. Let me just put my timer, my handy timer here, and we're gonna go for 10 minutes. It's done, and we're gonna start reviewing. Now, I'm gonna press play on this because I think we have to see it a couple of times so you guys can enjoy, and I can also make my mind up about exactly what to say about this piece. Nice one. So you can see that Julius put a lot of work on this piece. Lots and lots of cool stuff here, and I'm going to start by naming some of the positives because I think there's a lot of them, and then I'm going to nitpick a little bit and then kind of like tell a little bit of a feedback session to Julius to make sure that he's in a good place. Now, for all those that are watching this, this piece, and this is why I wanted to show you this, I think he exemplifies really well something that you want to put in your gameplay show reel, right? So most people actually want to put just animations with nice camera angles and things like that, and even though that's really nice and looks beautiful and all animators like to see it, I like to see it, in games you're normally working towards one camera, which is the game cam, and you should always, that's your main cam, and therefore you should always work towards that. Now, Julius was part of my gameplay workshop, gameplay workshop 2. Go and check it out if you need to in the iAnimate. He basically had cameras just outside, and then one of the first things that we do is basically, or that I tell them to do, is basically set up a game cam, choose what kind of game cam do you actually want to set based on the game that you want to make, and then follow that game cam and stay with that game cam for the whole few weeks that we animated, right? So Julius picked up this one, and notice how he actually just the camera just zooms in a little bit as he goes in, and then he punches, and then he goes into the action and the camera stays behind, and towards the end the camera zooms out again back to the same place that was in the beginning, which is very essential for games. So you guys probably have played games that there's this action going. Very important because you need a default state for the camera and then something that goes into the animation. Something else that Julius has done as well is highlight things like the controllers, and this is major for a gameplay showreel, and because this basically means for everybody that is trying to recruit you, that you're thinking about the animation logically, right? You're thinking about what kind of action would the player perform in order to execute this animation, right? And this is it's like the next step as your journey as an animation gameplay animator needs to take. So it's not just about the animations, but it's also about how the player can play with those animations in game. So Julius here showcases that he understands games by actually putting buttons to his actions while the character is animating. So he has done this all in Maya. You don't have to put it in Engine. You don't have to put it in Unreal or anything like that. You can just demonstrate it by adding icons to your shot. Now, when it comes to the animation itself, Julius, I think you've done brilliantly. I think it's really good. There's a few things that you need to polish, but once again, this is something that you will get better as you get better at cleaning your graph editor. But there is for example, when she walks forward right there and she takes off, right? I think you need a little bit more acting as she's doing it, right? The moment feels slightly more mechanic. So maybe having a little bit of a of a wave in and wave out as she goes in. So almost like going up, right? So she's walking instead of just walking all the way straight to get there and then attacking. So she starts up and then she goes down and then she leaps up. So almost like an animal. If you actually look at cheetahs or lions or whatever, when they're about to attack and pounce, they kind of just have this anticipation before they go up. You kind of want to have that in order to give a little bit more entertainment to it. So if you actually have that in there, then you can leap up into the punch and then punch down, right? You already have it here, which is nice, and it's going to give you much more of an impact while you go down. I also think that the way you have it here, that she punches, almost grants the power that you have it now that I can see it, almost grants for her to have this leg like almost move forward, right, a little bit, because the leg just stays there for a little too long and then comes back. So I feel like maybe she would give a step forward just to tiptoe and then maybe go back, right? If that makes sense. Now another thing that I've noticed is when you grab the weapon, it feels much better now based on the stuff that I've seen last time, 100%. And I can definitely tell the weight of the weapon when she hits the enemy, which is nice. But then towards here is the main problem that I can see, which is, she just stays still for a little bit while she looks at the character, and then she starts breathing right there, right? So you would actually do the breathing as you actually finish the movement, because you just finished to knock down a person. You had a weapon, a heavy weapon. You picked it up and you swung it into somebody's face, and then now at this point you're just really tired straight away. As soon as you go into the rest, you just already like, and then you start calming down as you go through. And that calming down period can go from about here when she goes into, she's now knocked down, so she can start breathing, right? And then she starts slowing down as she's looking around. So she goes, and then she has a little bit of a pause, right? A little pause, and then she puts the weapon down, and then she goes back into the idle pose. This will give you more acting into your animation. It will make it a little bit better overall. Now, something else that I've noticed as well is that she stays at the same height throughout the whole time that she's kind of like staying here, which makes it a little bit static as well. So you probably need to kind of like, on top of that breathing, you probably need to kind of like get that weapon swing, and you see how she actually has the hips down here? Keep it down there for a little longer, so she actually starts going up slowly to the place that she ends up in, right? And then she kind of like stays still at around this place here, right? When she's breathing. Remember, because she's breathing heavily, the breathing heavy actually moves the hips down, up and down a little bit, right? As you're doing it, there's a little bit of a up and down on the hips, right? This will actually help you to sell the movement much more as well as you're going through the motions, right? Now, I noticed that you definitely need to clean your graph editor from about frame 615 or so to about frame 700 or so. The whole movement, when she goes like this and goes like this, feels a little clunky. It needs to be a little bit more polished. And also remember that if she looks this way, the hips kind of have to display slightly that way. Same thing if she looks that way, right? You can just rotate the hips, but as you're doing it here, but make sure there's ever so slight, a little bit of a move towards this side, right? And then you settle back into the middle, and then you go forward. And every movement that you'd make like this, like you just go forward, make sure you have a little anticipation before going forward, right? Because no one really kind of just does this and then goes into the movement. Everybody kind of goes, if I'm gonna go over there, I go over there, right? So it feels very much like you're always doing ever so slightly anticipation to go into the movement. So here it feels very much like a linear movement. You go from here directly to this pose and then settle the weapon, right? Same thing here at the end. It's just at the end, as soon as you settle the weapon and you start going backwards, so you put the weapon down, before you go backwards, make sure you have a little bit of a go forward and then backwards, right? So then you can settle really nicely. Same thing on your saddle. I think you already have it here because the character, I can see the character kind of displacing backwards and then going forwards, which is nice. But once again, make sure that you go up and down as well. So backward, forward, but also dip and then settle, right? And that will actually give you more movement as well. And then think about secondary action, because like this hand right here, I think you can maybe like leave it maybe towards the end to make sure that she looks backward. And then just before she looks forward, she could actually do that going back and grab. I think there will be a better place for that going back position that you have right there, because I kind of feel like she might go into that back position slightly too early, and then she goes back, she goes forward. Same thing when you go forward, there's a little bit, you need a little bit more settle. It feels like she snaps slightly into that idle a little bit too soon, but it's kind of okay. But yeah, as you can see, I'm really kind of like nitpicking on your thing, on your animation, because it's looking really cool and it looks very gameplay-like. I like it a lot. It's pretty awesome. So keep up the good work. Pretty much managed to do everything I needed to do within the time. And that's the chime. There you go. It's done. So just gonna dismiss this. Julius, awesome stuff. You did a great job on the course that we did together on iAnimate. And obviously you have a really good piece here. Just make sure you change those things that I mentioned, and I think you're gonna be in an even better place. But as it is right now, it's good to submit to studios, see what they think, see if they actually kind of like go ahead, hire you, get you the first gig in gameplay animation, because you are really cool to work with when I was at iAnimate. And that's all I had to tell you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Cannot go away without actually thinking. And that's all I had for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I cannot go away before thanking my Patreons. Thanks so much for all the value and money and everything, all contributions that you've been giving me over the months to support this channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this review as well, my Patreons. And once again, don't forget to join my Discord in order for me to actually get to review your shots. We're having a lot of fun, so join us. Cool. See you guys in the next one. Until then, stay well, stay safe. Peace.